Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have a very exciting video to show you. I can't believe I am bringing you my Pan That Palette finale. Yes, finale. I did finish my palette. I'm just really excited that I was able to finish this palette within this past month and within this year. So I will include a clip right now of what the palette looks like last month. And this is what the palette looks like currently. As you can see, I have nothing left and I'm completely done with this palette. And for those curious, if this is your first time stumbling across one of my videos, hello there. But also my goal for the shade Undone was just to hit pan on it. I didn't expect myself or try to force myself to use and completely finish the shadow by the end of the year. So I'm happy to call this shadow done and put this in my empty spin. This is so crazy. I've never finished an eyeshadow palette before. I never really hit pan on an eyeshadow until I first hit pan on Skimp, and then I never finished an eyeshadow until I first finished up Skimp at the end of last year. And being able to completely hit pan on and use up 5 of the 6 shades in here has been really exciting and a learning curve for me as I am dabbling into the Project Pan world, and I am very excited of being a Project Panner. So, my thoughts on this palette. I really love this palette. I would consider purchasing this again, and I remember a comment a couple Pan That palettes ago, or maybe it was the last Pan That palette. They asked if I would repurchase this item, and I would repurchase this item. I don't think I would recently or like next week. I'm going to get this palette, but it's on my list again. I really did enjoy this palette. I had it for maybe 2 years. It lasted me a while. I don't know. I just really love this palette, and I grew attached to it because it was my first high-end palette I ever bought. So that's why I'm just like keep on looking at it. I'm like, I don't want it to go away. But yeah, I'm excited to see it go. So the next palette I'm going to show you is the companion palette that I have pulled into this challenge to substitute shades that I was missing and using up out of my Urban Decay Naked Basics 2 palette. And that palette is my Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette. This is what the palette currently looks like. I did expand the pan in the shade Nugget right here, as well as the shade Mousse. I've been also trying to work and grow the dip around the pan, and not necessarily trying to expand the pan right at the bottom. Trying to use up the shadow around it so that it's easier to expand the pan later on when I'm panning it. I've also been using the shades Truffled and Puddin' in my brows. I use Puddin' towards the end and I put Truffled in the front. It gives like a little bit of a subtle dimension that I actually really enjoy. And I started using this when the shade Primal in the Urban Decay Naked Basics 2 palette was gone. Because I was using that in my brows for a while. So yeah, I've been using those 2 in my brows, and the shade has been slowly and surely creeping out of my life because I use that to set my eyeshadow primer. I'm not sure if you'll be able to also see, I have a little bit of a dip in peanut butter, and I have a dip in butter pecan, but towards this side of the pan. But that's really just been there because that's naturally the side of the pan that I gravitate towards when I'm putting it on my lids. I really do enjoy this palette. I love this palette, and this is definitely going to be my Pan That palette for next year. And a couple videos ago in my Pan That palette, I mentioned that this would kind of replace this palette as the Pan That palette for the rest of this year, so I could start working on it, grow some dips, maybe hit pan before I start working on it next year, since the shadows in here are pretty difficult to hit pan on and to use up and things like that. But I have been dabbling with the idea of doing a 1 month 1 palette, and although I don't have enough palettes to completely get me to the end of this year, I thought that like if I use this as my August pan that 1 month 1 palette rather, I can use it again and pull it back out in November if I wanted it, so I can like reuse some palettes within the rest of the year. Within the rest of the year, and I think I'm going to be doing that idea with the 1 month 1 palette. So I am going to retire this palette for now, not because I don't love it, because I really do, but I want to be able to use a lot more of my lighter and peachier shades that I have for the rest of the summer, and pull this back out in the fall time and the winter time when I really love using all of the shadows that are in this palette. So I'm going to retire this palette just for now. But the palette that I'm pulling in for my 1 month 1 palette for August is my Makeup Geek and Manny MUA eyeshadow palette. This month of August slash beginning of September, I will have this palette for a year. I'm not saying that it's gonna go bad in 2 days after I've had it for a year, but just to make myself more aware of how old each product in my collection actually is. This product will be a year old as of the end of August, beginning of September. So I do want to make sure that I'm using this. I love using the shade Cosmopolitan all over my lid in the summer. It's really cute. Yes, I love this shade as well, called Artemis, which is a gorgeous shimmer. I also really love Luna. Yes, Luna. Even though the shadow is so ridiculously soft that it cracks sometimes, and literally all I do is pull it out of my plastic drawers that I store my makeup and I put it right back in. Kind of makes no sense to me, but whatever. I also really enjoy these two shades, which are Sora and Frappe. I love Aphrodite, which is the dark brown. I love Mars, even though I can't pick it up with my finger, it's only on a brush. And this shade, I feel like if I ever want to pan this palette, this shade will give me the most trouble, and I already know that because it is just so dry. It's just so dry. It's going to be insane to try to use this shade up. But anyways, I am really excited to be working with this in the month of August. Yes. I'm still not over the fact that I finished my Urban Decay Naked Basics 2 palette. This has been my baby for like 2 years. And now I'm going to throw him away because I finished him. But what could you do? I don't know. It's just amazing to me that I have finished an eyeshadow palette. That's insane. But anyway, you guys, thank you all so much for joining me on my Pan That Palette journey for 2017. I don't really know what to say. I'm like speechless. I don't know why I am speechless, but I am. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. Thank you all so much for supporting all of my Pan That Palette videos so much, for subscribing to my channel, for liking and commenting. It really makes my day, and I get really excited about it. And every single time I see my subscribers go up to like 1 more than it previously was, I just get really excited on the inside. And I just rambled about, oh, okay, this took a turn. Okay. Thank you all so much for watching again, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.